All right, I believe we are on. Thanks, Jyoti.
Thanks, Neil. Okay, welcome to, I don't know, what is this, day 12 of Gardner on Games. And today we're looking at a game that it's a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to analyze. I'm going to stick only to the things that Gardner talks about with Hex, because there's a lot to say about Hex if you want to get into it. So let's meet the game. So it's played on hexagonal grids. Actually, not necessarily, but okay. So let's say that it's played on a hexagonal grid, and the size of this grid, so it could be like, for example, the one I'm going to ask you to play with me is a 4x4. But for reasons that will become very apparent soon enough, the tournament board is typically an 11x11 board. Okay, so the way the game works is on your turn, you play. So this is two players, blue and red in this version of the game. Blue is trying to connect. So if you look at the board, you can see that the whole of the left side is colored blue, and the whole of the right side too is colored blue. So blue's aim is to place marks to create a path connecting the blue edge to the blue edge. And then at the same time, red would like to do the same, connecting the red edge to the red edge. Yeah, maybe I don't want to do any more spoiling. So yeah, okay. So blue plays, now red plays somewhere, blue plays somewhere, play proceeds until there is a path. So instead of spoiling it for you, I was going to ask if any two people would like to volunteer to play on this tiny board, because it would take a lot of time to do it on the big board. So to get a better sense of what's going on.
So I think you may have to enable annotation.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's been so long since we.
Yeah.
Right, done.
That works now. Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a couple of volunteers, that's great. I mean, I'm happy to try. Oh, by the way, you can play anywhere, and what's a path is like, I guess.
Yes, I thought we'd talk through it as it happened, but yeah, path. Okay, let me show you a picture of a path. We'll come back.
We'll figure out as we go along. I suppose a sequence of adjacent cells, something like that.
Exactly correct. Yes. So, like for instance, this is a path for black, right? Something that connects. And you could do this with, buttons on a board or by coloring in. Oh, I can't. Yeah, but assume that there are pieces of white. So this is a screen grab from Gardner's article, because I thought maybe we could just play through. So it doesn't matter how, and probably there are white tokens all over the board as well, because so it's sequential. Players are taking turns playing. Right. So
Sure.
maybe to get a sense of it, if anybody would like to. Yeah, if nobody volunteers, it's Neil and me, but
yeah.
yeah.
I know that I think Bharti has joined us and play in the past. I don't know if.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
So I think, but I don't know how you feel about it. Neil is volunteering you, but no pressure. It's
Sorry.
yeah.
Did
If you wanted to play, you're welcome to.
Oh, sorry. I joined late actually.
That's
So I'm
totally
just trying to figure out what this is.
right. So I can walk you through it. It's like
Yeah.
two players, red and blue, taking
Okay.
turns placing marks on the board.
Mhm.
Red is trying to connect I can't remember what color my pen is. Hold on. Okay. Red is trying to connect from the red edge to the red edge.
Okay.
And blue is trying to do the same from the blue edge to the blue edge. That's it.
Okay. So if they face each other, then they cannot cross over, I'm assuming.
I mean, only one person can play in a specific hexagon. And right now, so there's like one way to see it is that this whole
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, very good question. So Harsh, is it that's exactly like I will ask this in a second, but maybe let's play it through. So yes, is it true that only one player will be able to connect? But yeah, okay, so whoever wants to go. I don't know. Sorry, Shubham, I'm messing your. I will get rid of my artwork. Oops.
So okay.
So you get to put a blue circle anywhere you like on the board. On the board on the left. I mean, we played the 11
Yeah.
by 10. We'd be here for a while. Can they go around? As in, say, yeah, do whatever you want. Play anywhere you like. Do anything you want.
Okay. Hmm. So my path can be blocked, right?
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
maybe do you want to, yeah, I was just going to say, do you want to reconsider and block their path instead? Maybe
Hmm.
back up a couple of steps.
Yeah. I mean, the point of having the tiny board is if we needed to do it a couple of times to get a sense before I permanently ruin, you know,
Hmm.
discovery.
Is it my turn now?
Well,
No,
I guess this game's over because,
Okay. Okay.
but we could just get rid of that and if
yeah,
you want to.
I think I'm going to clear all annotations. Yeah, so that one, I think Shubham got that part before Bharti could connect. But I think there was a point where I think we had these threes, something like that. We had those three tokens. So I suppose the blue player would want to play here to block
Hmm.
that path.
Okay. Got it.
Though I think you were focused on extending your path. I think you were hoping that you can do this and get there, which would
Yeah.
have been fine, except that the red player had that other move
Hmm.
you could finish. So yeah, I don't know if you guys feel like going again. We could do one more quick round and then yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll start here.
Right? So that could also be part of it, right? So maybe, okay, nice. And so notice what happened right there. So Shubham, so at this position here,
Hmm.
whether you blocked here or here, Bharti,
Yeah.
just take the other, right?
Hmm. Right.
Okay, so maybe some sense of what's going on we've achieved.
Hmm.
Let's talk about it a bit more then. If I do that, will I still have dots? Yes.
Yeah, I can clear these. Yeah, it has some tic-tac-toe trap vibe.
Huh, interesting observation. The thing with it is, okay. Oh, well, maybe I should have brought that back. I wish we'd filled in the whole board. Okay, what about this?
Yeah.
Don't even think. Just populate this board. Throw tokens at it. I mean, okay, so maybe that's a poor way of doing this. All right. So I guess that the question I'm going to ask is a question I saw in the chat. Is it possible to draw? And this is not something that's in the article, so I had promised I would not go down this path because there's a lot to cover. So maybe for now, yeah. So to the question of is it tic-tac-toe-esque? Well, in what sense? I guess there's a yeah.
Oh, you did say you wanted to fill this up, right? That's why I'm
Yeah,
bringing.
right. I just wanted to show that. So in some ways, I mean, I'm glad I guess it is blue and red. So think of it like, I think traditionally it's land and water. Right? So if one is connected, it's going to disconnect the other. So this is a hand wavy way to do this, but you can show that there can't be a draw. So no matter what happens, Oh, somebody's going to win. We'll do this a little more carefully. The first player.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Shortest path is further. Oh, well. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right. Okay, I think all and everything I wanted you to notice is sorted. So let's. Well, yeah. You were sort of showing the disconnected.
Red chunks, yeah, the red chunks.
Parts. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to clear out the annotations then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I put up a slightly bigger board, but I don't think. Yeah, I think we've made our point. So hold on. Okay, so let's. Yeah, so this was just an example of a path that connects. Okay, so let's do exactly what we were suggesting. Yeah, Harsh was saying that, well, maybe it's because in a small board. So look at this board, for instance. This is just a 3x3 board. Who's going to win? Black has already played. Black has played to the center of this board. Is there what is there anything white can do? What can we think about what would happen in a turn or two? So look at the okay, so supposing, well, really what could white do, right? I mean, pick a spot. Where would you think white might want to go? Okay, maybe I will then. I mean, you can. Okay, fine, wonderful. Thanks, Ashan. All right, but if you think about the way black connects to, okay, so the way this hexagon here connects to this black edge here, exactly. There's always another option. And now perhaps white would try to go block here, but then they would play on the other side. So in a 3x3, you can immediately see that this is a clear first player win, and there's very little that the second player can do. So, but I guess the one of the reasons this game has had some. Yeah, all right. Sorry, 1 minute. What was the question? Yeah, okay. All right. All right. So then let's. What about here? Okay, so we're going to try to argue. I'm actually going to argue 2-3 because it's really obvious to figure out a strategy. So the argument is that if the first player starts on any one of these, right? So right down the center, this line down the center, any one of these positions played by the start player leads to an immediate, like a first player win. If the first player plays anywhere else, well, then the second player could play on one of these 4 and the second player would win. So let's take a look at, let's just play one pretend round out and see what happens. So 2-3, they're symmetrical. I could have turned this board upside down and 2 would become 3. So let's just pick one. So we've seen something of the strategy in what, so you saw where, okay, so if you were white, what would you do? And then maybe I'll talk about. So anyway, so think about what white wants to do. So blocking black is a winning strategy for white. So since only one person could, okay, yeah, both those might work. But remember, with by playing here, okay? There's still this option. So it really hasn't really done very much at all, right? By playing next to the black piece. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, yeah. So black really doesn't get very far with, I mean, white doesn't get very far with that response. So the thing is that consider this position here. Right? The thing of these two, this what I'm going to, I should not use 1 and 2 because that was hex 2. If you think about where the circle is, so this position, this one here, and this position, well, they're certainly connected. There's nothing, if white plays here, black responds here. And vice versa. If white played on the left, then black would have played on the right. There's nothing you could do to prevent it. So maybe a sensible response would be to try to play there. So let's see what happens there. So because I am going, yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, but I think if white persons choose those four, has a greater possibility to win, right? Because he's blocking either the black side. If he choose like
Can we just play it out?
yeah, so if he just pick this one, this hexagon and this hexagon after this one, so block
You
has to
are
change.
going to choose one. So you play wherever you think you want to play. I find it's easier for me at least to just write so I probably am going to respond by writing B. But if you want to, make a mark somewhere on the board in one hexagon, you can't then plan out a whole future strategy because you don't know what I will do in response, right? So all you have access to is here is the board. You get to put one mark anywhere you like. Up there, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Black goes here.
I will choose this one.
All right, black goes here.
Okay, blocked. Yeah,
Got it?
I get it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
All right, thanks. Hey, by the time I hunt for the eraser, you've already done it. Okay, so as you can see, then perhaps one thing white wants to think of is perhaps to go here. Right? It's not going to help much, but it's going to prolong the game a little as well. Black responds by going there because again, black knows that these two are definitely connected to each other. Oopsie. Apparently I thought that was enough. All right, no, sorry. Apologies. What was I thinking? Why do I think this is enough? 1 minute, just a second. Yeah, so black's certainly able to get to the black edge on this side. Yeah, right, it is done. All right, okay, it's done. Okay, because black can get to the black edge by going into one of these two positions on the left. These two are definitely connected to each other. There are two paths. In the same way, there are two ways to connect to the black edge. So even though you can only see two dots on the board, black has definitely made their path. Okay, do you need me to go over that again? Let me just get rid of all this. Okay, so it looks as if black has only made two marks on the board, and yet you can see that black has two ways to connect to this whole thing is a black edge. It goes like all the way up to here. This is a shared one. So these hexes in the corner, either black or white could use them. So black has two ways to connect to the black edge on this side, two ways to connect their pieces, and two ways to connect to this other black edge here. There's nothing white can do. This game is over. Okay, does that make sense? Could you give me a +1 in the chat if so? Yeah, I'm going. You're also welcome to unmute, and thanks, Neil. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. I mean, maybe I should do the other. If it's confusing to anybody, you could also put down like a question mark or anything you like. Okay. All right. So here's a puzzle. I think I forgot to say. So Hex was designed, I forget which year, I should look in the paper, but timed and possibly simultaneously Nash, so there's a chance that Nash had heard about Heinz' game. 48 Nash. I do not know. Right, so yeah, 1940. Okay, so why did I So these are puzzles invented by Hein and published in Gardner's paper. So the question is, this is some way through a hex game. It's white's turn. Where should white play to ensure a win? Okay, notice that there's no point trying to block black here if that's... I mean, okay, I won't say anything. Does anybody want to? Yeah? Did I just talk through the first one and leave the next one maybe?
So sorry, are you asking for where white should move to?
What is the hollow circle? Ah, it's white.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hmm.
Right. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so this is a puzzle in which there has been some... Yeah, right. So if I was now black, oh, I am black, but I don't know how to make circles, so I will just write B. I will just do that. Right. So now white is sitting off in this little island all by themselves. But I kind of tricked you by saying, oh, look, these are completely connected. Because if white had gone the other way, right? So just do it on the other path that black seems to have. Which is, let me do that. Yeah, thanks. In that case, oh, I don't know, what do you think black's best bet is? Because what is a hollow? Oh, okay, all right. So again, white has two ways to get to this white edge. So there's no point trying to block them there. Right, exactly. So if you there are two ways for white. Neela, you're playing as white? You're playing as black?
Yeah, but okay, we said the hollow circle was white, yeah?
Correct. Yeah, the hollow circle is white.
Right. So then, yeah, this would get you blocked on that side completely. Is that right?
Sorry, hold on a minute. Say that again. Let me get rid of my...
No, yeah, if the top one was black, that's not good for black, is it? Because then they're getting
Not particularly, because black would need to get both. I mean, there's no guarantee. White could very easily block black if black did that.
correct. Fine. So the red dot here is white's move, and I think your question was what should black's response be?
Right. No, why is this already a win for white? This play ensures a win for white. Why?
I think that's what you were probably saying earlier about both of these being accessible.
Yeah, both of those are accessible. So that's the way to get to one edge. There's still this edge to think about though, right? Because it might seem as if couldn't black go here, but no, because white could respond there. And then of course the other way as well. So even though this is a black edge,
Yeah.
right, it's connected to this white piece here. Right, so there's nothing black can do. So that's just one play. So
Yeah.
that's the nature of the puzzle. So let's do one more. Oopsie. Right. What about here? Single play by white can ensure a win for white. What is that play?
So it's white's turn now.
It's white's turn. So in all these puzzles, it's white's turn. We're midway through a game.
Right.
And white gets to go
So
somewhere and then argue that that's enough.
Sure.
Yeah, then maybe I feel a little guilty about this, so maybe I leave one.
Okay, but the claim is that there's a unique, as in the win for white is unique. Yeah, I mean, I understand that there's one place where white can play, and you can argue that that's going to be a win. I was also curious if that's like the only way to do it.
Hmm. It's only framed as a puzzle. I don't know if it is. Why not? Let me just take a look.
Necessarily.
There is nothing in Gardner. So Gardner's article provides a solution and then says, go and argue it.
I see. I see.
But hold on a minute. Let me just check. Yeah, it only says if it's, okay, white does that.
Isn't this your 1, 2, 3, 4 example from earlier where you had said that if so I don't know. Didn't you say that if black takes one of so clearly white has played first and black has taken one of the 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So shouldn't this be a black win no matter what?
Well, it also depends on the response of. So you're saying this, if this is white's turn, if no, if it's white's turn, white started by going here, didn't they?
Correct. And I thought you were saying earlier that if the first player starts by playing anything other than 1, 2, 3, 4, then the second player can take one of 1, 2, 3, 4 to guarantee themselves a win, no?
No, I don't. I think there's a response. I don't know if it's still
Oh.
1, 2, 3. Is it still 1, 2, 3, 4? Hold on a moment. Why? How do I argue this? Hold on, just a second. White.
No, maybe I misunderstood the part about the second player stage.
No, right. I don't know what the second player response is. So if the first player starts by taking one of those, you can argue it's a bit harder. It's a bit more complicated with the two ends, which is why I didn't do it. It's slightly longer. But with I didn't really argue it. I just demonstrated it with the other. But you can argue through with the symmetric middle points that that's going to be the best way to do it as well. However, there's if you play elsewhere, now you've changed the state, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair, I think.
I guess, but if white did play, say, here, I'm very inclined to go here as black. I mean, of course, we're not playing out a game. Black, white, that gets me blocked. Yeah.
And also white seems to have options, right? Here.
Right. That's enough to see that. But that's but that isn't. That's probably just because I played wrong. Hold on a moment.
Okay. But the puzzle does say that it's a white win, right? Or white
win.
Okay.
It's a white win, but not necessarily white plays where white is currently played. So there should be a black response to what white has done. And what I don't want to do is, what if I did that? Right now, I'm just playing blindly. So anybody who wants to can take over. That's what I did before and I got blocked. So that's because I was looking straight at where I think white wants to go. And that's really not the way to play this game. So okay. So why was I trying to play here? Well, I was trying to play here because I thought, well, it connects me here, but that's not where I want to go. I want to think about how it gets me to my other black edge, right? So I don't particularly care about going here just because white and I can both connect to this square, to this hex here, right? Like that for white. And like that for black. And yet that's not the direction black's trying to go in at all. So it's not probably a very sensible play on black's part to try to go further afield. So I'm already on this black edge. Why would I want to fight for it? What I want to do is to try to find a way to get to this edge. So I don't know, maybe something like that would be a sensible play. And I'm making this up as I go along. So if anybody else can think of a better way. So if I did that, then I guess black would go here.
Mm.
That's interesting. But I think that might do it. Right, anyway, yeah, this, but that does it for black, right?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to try and connect back to. Sorry.
No, I think sometimes you just have to give up on your pieces. But this, I don't know if either of us played optimally. It was just something. It was just,
It was very random.
yeah, exactly. Right.
It wasn't attracting that edge necessarily. Okay, yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
but I mean, that's also a way to demonstrate that you shouldn't get too wedded to pieces on the board.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough. And also, I suppose I couldn't have blocked you in that penultimate move anyway. I think, or maybe I could have. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I've lost
I
track.
don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe we can go back and argue it if you like. So, okay. So what I was thinking is what I would like to do is to get to one of these three pieces, right? In order to complete a path, I have to have a piece both on this edge, which I've already successfully done. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. What I also need is a piece on the other side, right? So I didn't really argue in my head. What did I do? Did I do that? Oh, right. Oh, wow. Okay, Neil, you did find the
Oh, is that the right answer? Oh, I didn't.
apparently. So
I
now
don't.
we just have to figure out an apparent. Did I muck up?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, but I don't remember who
No, no,
found.
no, no, no. It's because I mucked up. Hold on a minute. It's not there. It's here. I was like, how is this rational? I think I was moving it and then didn't quite finish moving it. It should be here.
Okay, that's the correct white response. I see.
So let's see whether we can make some sense of that.
So, do you want to maybe go back to the puzzle board and write it there so that you don't have this piece?
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Just get rid of. Oh yeah, you mean just put the
Yeah, that was fine.
W here?
Yeah.
All right.
And now
Okay,
I want to
white
argue it's a
is
white.
work. What can black do?
Yeah, so I think I don't remember who had the original proposal for W, but maybe you want to play and reason it out. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for gate crashing that conversation, so maybe.
Oh no, I think yeah.
Yeah, I had the
Everyone's welcome to jump in. Yeah.
yeah, everyone's welcome to jump in totally. Yeah, I think I have a feeling that if we do a few plays, we'll get a sense of what White's strategy is.
Correct. I mean, so the way White is thinking about it is right, so maybe let's I'll leave this puzzle for a minute because I think we could really go down this rabbit hole and I don't really want. Yeah. What is that? That's a path for White. Yeah. So White is trying to go. Okay, so okay, let me just finish the things I wanted to say before we get too caught up on one puzzle. Yeah, no. Oh, right. I was going to argue why other places don't work. Anyway, never mind. For a second, let's just let this go for a minute. Sorry. Oh, okay, 1 minute. Let me talk about this one because it's kind of cute. I'm not going to give you the answer here. I am going to ask, what do you think would be a White response? I'm hoping someone will say something, in which case I have a response. If not, we'll just rush through this slide. Okay, so here's what's happened. 3 pieces of white, 3 pieces of black on the board. It's White's turn. White is trying to go from the bottom left to the top right. What should White do to ensure a win? And I'm actually not going, I mean, okay, fine. So what do you think? Is there any position that looks like it would be a good way to block black? Yeah, maybe this is all too much for now. Let's do this. Maybe why don't you go play it a bit? And yeah, if anybody has just a gut, I could show you why sometimes gut instincts can be. Neil, do you want to be my? So it looks like black's forming a path, right? Right. Okay. So, but supposing that were to happen, supposing white were to try to go and try to block off this chain. Sheesh, I argued through all these. Like, give me a minute to recollect. So, if I were black, what I would do is that. Right.
Sorry, that was a mistake by me.
That's fine. That's fine. There's something in chat. Right, on that side, but there's still another, black has two possibilities on that side. Right, so there's no point now thinking about the left side of this board. The left side of this board, in terms of that particular position, you can treat it like it's a foregone conclusion. There's nothing to be done about it, right? Here are the two possibilities. So what you want to do is think about, is there any other way to make a connection, or is there any other way to maybe block? Correct. So I was hoping somebody would say that. So I was going to try to argue through why. Oh no, what happened? So let's see what would happen. And I don't know because we've already got some pieces on the board. Supposing white wanted to go here to block. Now let's think about what black would do. Black would go up, play up here, right? Which looks completely unrelated to the rest of the things that are happening. White now tries to connect white's own path, right? Or maybe these two pieces don't exist because, I mean, these two we just added in, but okay, so, but notice what black can do. Black can forget about, we can bring back even this black, it does not even matter. So black can guarantee themselves a new path because now black's got this sorted out. Can black be blocked on the other end? Well, either white could go and try to block here. Black could but white could do the obvious and try to block here, in which case black plays here, but black already has a move up here. Right? I mean, it's a little hard to do this verbally, but if you try working out the cases on this, it's actually quite interesting to analyze. And you'll start finding that maybe the most obvious thing, which is to block a path that seems to be forming, is not the right response. Sometimes, maybe I will leave you with the thought that it's actually, if I recollect, you want to play up here, I think, as white, because this is the crucial thing that black is going to use. Okay, and so I'll leave these puzzles in the article anyway. There is no analysis in the article, but it's fun to sit with them and see what goes on. So yeah. That's a whole argument. I don't want to do this. 1 minute. Sorry. Okay, so now let's go back. We've seen this. So for the people who've been in some of these readings, we've actually seen this argument. So we don't know what the winning strategy is. Hold on just a second. Thanks, Sid. All right. So, okay, so this is a perfect information game. It can't draw. Well, what that means is that either the first player or the second player has a winning strategy, right? Okay, so let's say for a minute, okay, so to arrive at a contradiction, for a minute, let's assume that it's the second player that has this winning strategy. Well, so now the first player, so this is again, everybody knows what everyone else is trying to do. So the first player knows what strategy the second player is trying to adopt. And that must depend in some way on what the first player does, because it's a second player strategy. The first player goes and does something completely unrelated to the second player's strategy, right? So this doesn't further the second player's strategy, making the second player now effectively the first player. And then the second, so then the first player, right, takes over whatever the strategy was to win the game. All right, let me put all that. And notice that it's because Okay, so it could be that the mark that was made was part of the strategy, the newly adopted strategy. If so, make another random mark, right? So you've already got the mark you want. It's all right. Forget and keep doing this. I don't know if that made any sense. Could somebody tell me if they have any idea what I'm on about? Right. So the idea is that if the second player has a way to win, right, it's kind of like the first player has to play along. So so this first player goes and just does something that's not related to the strategy. Maybe now the second player has got to implement their winning strategy. It should not matter. If it's a second player strategy, it should matter irrespective. But again, because it's a second player strategy, it depends. It's okay. If it was completely, it's hard to do this without writing anything.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. I suppose the only okay, so with strategy stealing arguments, my only thing is okay, so I'm now trying to steal a second player strategy which we assume to exist, right? And try to use it at the first player. So the only objection, I think the only thing that requires care is when we say having a mark on the board is always an asset, which of course is intuitively true. But formally, the second player strategy is a function which will take a game state and tell you what to do. It's conceivable that you feed it a game state and it asks you to play in the location where you already made your first
But
move.
that's okay, right, Neil? So then make another random mark. So that's why this whole it's an asset thing comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the only bit that needs, like, basically, even if you passed on that round without making a mark, you would be fine. Because from then on, the second player strategy would play out without any confusion. Like, there would never be a situation where the strategy asks you to do something and you can't do it because you've already done it before. That situation will not arise anymore. But passing is probably technically not allowed. So I think
Yes, it makes the random mark. Yeah.
and so it's possible that in a future turn, the strategy again asks you to do something that you've already done before. So the strategy will always suggest something that you can actually do, or it will suggest something that you have already done. It's never going to be anything else. So either way, you're basically good. This just needs to be, I think, again, like I said, useful to think of games where this argument doesn't work. I mean, yeah. So in this case, I think the first move never hurts, and it's for this reason. So yeah.
No, but I think it's also that with hex, it is. So I don't know what happens in games where marks could go either way. So this whole the
Right.
idea that passing doesn't matter. I mean that if you passed, it would be equivalent. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are games for which that may not even be.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please do.
So the previous time we used this strategy was
With
when we had, chomp,
Yeah.
and we had a lattice inclusion type of thing, right?
Correct.
And so we could adopt the strategy that the other player said. What
Okay.
is it here? It
Well,
can't be surely that we are playing at the same place, right? Is that all?
No. It's a position of play does not matter. It is more here. It is that okay, let's go back and look at a hex board. The idea is that again, if I just randomly threw stuff on this board, somebody would win. And always having a mark gives you more options in terms of available paths. Again, this is not so the argument here is that, like Neil said, either the position you've played in is useful to your strategy or it's just lying there. It does harm. It only so it's not as clear of an inclusion strategy as it was with Chomp, because Chomp, you're arguing that it was already accessible. You could directly have done it. This one, it's more that.
Yeah, so I think formally, if you just apply the strategy, right, like literally use the second player. So I think what we're saying is hypothetically, suppose the second player has a strategy. The first player plays as follows. The second player strategy probably does not give you a starting move, right? Because the second player strategy is only reacting to boards on which at least one move has been made. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it must be
Right.
because it's
So,
like strategy.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So you start by playing arbitrarily, play anywhere you want. And now the second player has a response, and now you have a state, and I think you can, okay. So, okay, the second, I was going to say that pretend that the first mark that you made is not there. If you want to truly pretend that you are the second player and you want to. So like let the second player move be the pretend first player move, and just erase your first mark and feed this to the second player strategy function. The second player strategy function will ask you to do something, and we want to argue that that's always a legitimate move that you can make, or it's a
No,
move
no. So
that
let's say you can make
internally.
all the second player moves
Right,
and you get to, let's say, white side to another white side.
correct.
And you are at the black player.
Mhm.
Why does that win for you?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So I am stealing white's move and I can steal all the white's move, let us say.
I think you have to flip the colors and feed it to the second player. No, I think.
I think white is the second player. White is the second player in this.
Yeah, so I need to play wherever white moves, right? White had a strategy to put a white token somewhere, and I'm going to put a black token there. That's what stealing here means, right?
So that's the thing, and that I don't know, because if you look at the exact same thing that Neil just said, so if you go back and look at one of these puzzles, right? So if it was directly that the board was okay, so if there is a way to create a first player win in this board, right? Then it can't be just that you're reversing colors, because I know that if the first player had played here.
So is the claim that the second player can always win? Is that the claim?
No, that there is a first player strategy. This is the argument against having a second player strategy. I'm just saying I don't know that it is the same strategy. I don't know that it is that you should now do.
Yeah, I mean, I think mimicking the strategy would still work, right? So let's say that white is the second player, black is the first player, and we have these two moves on the board. And let's say white had a strategy to win. As black, what I'll do is I'll forget about this move here. I will pretend that here is one black token, and I will ask the second player what they would have done if this was what had happened. And I think the second player may say place a white token here or wherever. And if they ask me to place a white token somewhere, I will place a black token at that place. And I think, okay, so I think your concern would be that the black tokens would then connect white to white. I suppose you would have to appropriately flip.
No, then
I can tell you
the
how to
argument
do
is
that.
more complicated than
It is definitely this one's a more complicated argument than the chomp one.
Okay, I see. No, it's more complicated than chomp, but I just felt that it would be some
No,
flip.
but I think we have not identified the
Can't
fundamental
be,
property that makes this happen.
right,
There's something
because
else going on.
it can't be just flip him, right? Because then you could not have a puzzle which said it's white's turn, play here, and white wins, right? After black has already managed to steal this strategy.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the contradiction with the puzzle, because the puzzle
Okay,
might
this
be
is-
relying on a particular pathway in the game tree which contradicts optimal play in some sense. So
No, but if there was hold on. How does that work? Because the claim is that I mean, of course, it's a contradiction. Okay, hold on a moment. I mean, if it was if there existed a path down the game tree that involved just flipping and winning, wouldn't black be able to adopt it now? So you can
I see what you okay.
Yeah.
It can
Because,
be just flipping is what you're saying. I see.
yeah, so I think this one may be more complicated than just simply that. Also, there's an asymmetry in, like when I was saying, where you're trying to connect. But I can show you a kind of mirroring strategy on this one. So hold on, let me just finish this thought, and then it does need. So Hex, by the time we teach it, we're going to have a lot more clarity. Okay, so let's ask this question, right? So if there is, so let's assume for a minute that there is a first player advantage. Can we get rid of this first player advantage by sort of stretching the board out? So instead of having a perfectly symmetric n by n board, what if we told the first player that now you've got to make this longer? So the first player here is red. So red is trying to get a longer distance to blue. Now is trying to make a shorter. Yeah, actually with hex, I think I have an idea, but we can think about it later. All right, so would this take away the first player advantage? Would this now make life easier for the second player? Okay, so that's the question. And for that, you can come up, for example, here, I think it's on a, so you can see that this is a mirroring strategy. So the one that, so if, let me show you where the symmetries on this thing are. So here's AA, here's BB, here's CC, here's DD, and it's reflected about this, right? So around this line somewhere here. So you play on the paired ones. You can come up with this on any rectangular grid and play the other option in order to notice that the first player now is trying to make a shorter path. So just wait, hold on a moment, hold on a minute. What have I done? Right. So this is ensuring this is now you've flipped it the other way, right? So what you've done here is you've given so even though they're both playing symmetrically, because the second player is trying to make a shorter path, you've managed to ensure a second player win. Right? So you've not made it a game in which you can't determine. Right? So I think that the reason it's played on an 11 by 11 grid is even though there is theoretically a first player winning strategy, it's hard to implement and nobody knows. I think even computationally, I'm not sure. I don't think there's any clarity on how to win on a larger board. So you can make, I think it gets kind of nasty after 6 or something. Okay, right. I think, yeah, do I want to say this? Yes, I guess this is the, like, so what they say is as you start out, this is kind of what you're trying to do. So if you look at this chain here, so what you want to do is start in the middle and then try to play outward, right? So play as many of these as you can, depending on what your opponent does, so that you can, so you want to alternate between these because this is one path and that is another. Right? So, but apparently there is a strategy that I couldn't make any sense. I mean, it doesn't say anything in the paper, but I could not work out what was going on. So what they are saying is that there is a clear blocking strategy to this. So even though this seems like it should work and it works with novice players, there's a way to systematically block play of this sort, where you're just starting in the middle, and trying to go horizontally or vertically to make a path. I mean, I can kind of see it, but I don't know how to put it down. Yeah, so I think maybe the sensible thing to do is to work on smaller grids and see exactly what's going on. Slightly bigger than the, 3 by 3 or the 4 by 4, where it is very obviously visible. But even at the 4 by 4 stage, it's really not as simple as you would think it should be. Yeah. Right. For example, even this one, I think it takes, Gardner says 7 turns. So this one wasn't that hard to think about, these 2 central ones. But these 2 further ones, it's 7 turns. And maybe I also lost patience a bit, and I did not work out how to guarantee that there's a win from either of these 2. Yeah, so anyway, lots to think about. I mean, there's a whole book written on it, which hopefully we'll read at some point.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still wondering why why this doesn't work exactly as you said it does, but maybe we can think about that the bit about strategy stealing. I still have a sense that flipping the board around and using the second player strategy as it should work, but now I'm trying to reconcile that with what you said about the puzzle. Yeah, let's see. I think that's something to think about offline, I suppose. Yeah, any other comments or questions maybe?
Yeah, maybe we leave the puzzle for a minute to see.
Mhm.
Right, so the question is, where should we? Oh, not this one. But I mean, this one too, but the one we were discussing was this.
Great.
I mean, it shouldn't have that. Right? I mean, even if it did, here's the puzzle. Oopsie. Oh no. I
Great.
can't remember if that was an argument for or against playing there. So you may as well.
So no spoilers. No, so what was the claim here? The claim here was that white has a way to win and white.
But on the next turn, white can make a move that it's white's turn. They get to make a move, and that guarantees a win for them.
Okay, and how does this contradict strategy stealing?
No. Okay. So if supposing this was a random, so the argument with this was it, at least Gardner says, I have no proof of this. If you play on that central, 1, 2, 3, 4 down here, then it's a win for the first player, but play anywhere else, and there is a way for the second player to respond to take it away, right? Now, the second player here has gone and played in the middle on that. So I don't know that this is the way the second player should have responded, but in the puzzle, this is the way the second player did respond, right?
So if it is
So
indeed
now you know that this is not part of the winning strategy for white. So white had first go, white picked something that was a clear random move. Now black should be able to, if I mean, if there's some in this hex table, the shortest path is 3. Shouldn't it be 4?
it looks 4 to me also.
It would be along one of the edges, right? Oh, no. Okay, so after that, there's no point playing this game because you know that it's done, but you still have to fill in these in order to complete the game. Right? So we stopped playing because at that point you could argue that the game is done, as it is not worth playing, the extra moves.
Like these are not adjacencies, basically. I mean, I don't know if they were thinking about adjacencies along edges for cells, but those two cells are not. I mean, two cells are adjacent if they share an edge between them. Yeah. So I don't know if the thought was that you could start here, hop over along this connection, go here, hop over like that and go there. That's not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on turning this into equilateral I mean, taking the centers and, playing, but that's a completely equivalent game. So just, connecting these guys instead. But then there's also something about turning the board into an equilateral triangle made up of hexagons, and then thinking about winning being a path that connects all 3 sides. That could be something worth thinking about as well.
Sure. Yeah. Think all of these. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
but does that make some sense, Neil? So if it was as simple as go back and play, do whatever white was going to do.
No, I know. I mean, so okay, maybe what is the
It
claim?
might be that this
So the
position was, I don't know, like.
okay, so we have 2 separate claims here. So one claim is that if player 1 plays along the center line, she wins. She has a way to win. She has a win from here.
Anywhere in these 4. Yeah.
So that's one claim. And then another claim is that player 1, if player 1 plays anywhere else, then player 2
now
can
has some winning strategy. Now, what I'm saying is, if that winning strategy were the same as player one's, then this puzzle wouldn't make much sense.
sure. Yeah, so I think that's fine. I mean, okay, so if player one plays anywhere else, player two has a winning response. What you're saying is that winning response is not just
I
stealing.
don't know. It may not be. I don't know. So to me, that feels like it needs more investigation. I'm not sure what the. So, like with Chomp, you could say just take over that strategy, right? Bite there. This I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know, all that we are saying is that player one's winning, I mean, player one has winning strategies from these four special squares, right? But now from player two's perspective, I don't know if they can turn player one's strategy around because player one does have like, so if player one has to steal player two's strategy, that's more reasonable because they have only one extra mark, which doesn't hurt them. But for player two to steal player one's strategy is not easy because player one has a mark which can potentially hurt player two. And it's not as if player two, yeah. So I think that's a problem, right? So player two cannot steal player one's strategy because player one's having already made a move would not work in their favor automatically. So imagine that player two tries to steal player one's so-called strategy. At some point, that strategy may require player two to go play here, and now they can't anymore because a move has been made on that square and it's not by them. It's by the other player. Whereas when player one is stealing player two's strategy, if they run into this issue where the strategy says go play here and it's already been played, at least they have a guarantee that that play was made by them. So they can stay consistent with the strategy without a problem. So player two stealing player one strategy is not the same as player one stealing player two strategy. So that thing about the extra mark doesn't hurt. That's something that works.
I don't think I know. Are you telling me or are you recapping? I'm confused.
No, so my point is that this would not, I mean, I think your objection was like, couldn't player two just steal player one
No, that was not. My argument was that if it was as simple as, I mean, I lost track.
I think, okay, I understood what you said to be the following, that from here, the puzzle claims that white can win. But it seems like because player two has started where player one would have started in their winning strategy, like why can't it be that player two is simply on a pathway to stealing player one's strategy and winning this game, which would contradict the
No,
objective?
I was saying that you can't. Because of this puzzle, you can't do that. So earlier, I think, did you not?
No. So my point is that this actually would not work, right? Player two cannot steal
We're in
player.
agreement because we came back to this puzzle because that was the argument I'm making, that it can't be.
Right. But that doesn't, that's okay. But then player one can still steal player two's strategy.
Right. Nobody's contesting that.
Yeah. But I thought you said it cannot be as simple as player one stealing player two's strategy.
So player two stealing player one strategy.
Oh, but nobody was saying player two is stealing player one's strategy.
I think that's what we were talking about just before this. Is that right, Vinny?
No, I think we were talking about player one stealing player two's strategy all along, no?
No, because
I think Vinay's issue was that when player one steals player two's strategy, player two is moving towards a white or a black path, and player one wants to achieve the opposite goal. So how does it help that player one has stolen player two's strategy? It doesn't even help them.
I know what I understood was it not that now I would proceed to place the counters where white would have played? So play as white, which is essentially take over what white would do. Right? And this was the argument that that may not work directly.
Okay, so maybe we can list out what we are in agreement with. We agree that player two cannot simply steal player one strategy.
Right.
Okay, we feel like player one can steal player two's strategy, provided they flip things around as they do it.
Player one is the one with the winning strategy. Why are they
So
stealing?
you're trying to, no, so Isn't that the argument for why player one has a winning strategy? You want to
I'm
claim
very confused now. Do we want to do this in the morning or do we want to do this now?
we can do this.
So,
No, no,
can I speak?
of
Yeah,
course.
sure.
So this is by contradiction. So suppose player two has a winning strategy, then it says that player one plays some random, say put some stone or something over at one box. After which player two will play, and then player one will follow the strategy that player two would have played. But the color thing is, I mean, it's a symmetric move. It's not necessarily the same move. The
Yeah.
color thing is not coming into the picture because the symmetric move will ensure that player one will play white only. But what player two would have played symmetrically to the player one's move in the first time. So player one will play in that way, and then one will ensure move. If that strategy entail the first stone that player one has put, then player one put some random stone at other place. Consider that stone as that point strategy.
Right.
I think this is what, yeah, so this seems to be the argument. So no, Jyoti, I was just confirming that do you think that the strategy stealing argument requires further
No,
justification?
no, not at all. No.
No? Okay.
No,
fine.
I mean, to me, it seems like with Hex, no. I mean, in general, maybe, I don't know. But with Hex, it seems to me that, like you said, that having a counter in your color is only ever going to further any strategy you may want to
Yeah,
pursue.
that's the bit that I was saying that maybe when we actually write out a proof, I think this does not hurt bit probably needs to be made a little more formal, because when you actually steal somebody's strategy and they ask you to do
But in
something.
the general case, I'm talking specifically about Hex.
No, I'm also talking about hex. I'm just saying that the strategy may ask you to place a counter at a location where you have already placed a counter. So you cannot
Right.
simply say,
Yeah.
so
So then
then
another random move.
yeah, I mean, you could say, for example, that there are no cells left to make a move. I mean, I'm just saying that those are edge cases that you can run into. It just, okay. So, I mean, I think it's just words at this point. But to say that the extra counter doesn't hurt is probably just something that, yeah, I mean, that's definitely the crux of what's making the argument work. So, I suppose when we actually write it out, maybe it just show. I mean, like I said, the only place it shows up is when you try to apply the strategy, and the strategy is not applicable because, yeah, so make another random mark. That's not going to hurt because so I think all I'm saying is that that requires like a small proposition or something, and that's it. But yeah, that's basically the idea. And I think if I remember correctly, Vinay's question was about like the second player's goal is the opposite goal of the first player. So if we simply steal their strategy, won't we be achieving their goal, or won't we be placing black tokens that connect the white sides and so on? So I think it was in response to that that I was saying that when you steal the strategy, you also have to flip the board to make it work. But yes, I don't know if there's anything more to this than that. At that point, I was wondering if you said that something in the puzzle is contradictory. So that's what I wanted to explore. But I think we're on the same page based on everything that we just discussed. Yes, I think it's just that who steals whose strategy is not symmetric. Player one can definitely steal player two's strategy, but not the other way around. I think that's, and they have to remember to flip things around to make it make sense, I think. So
Right, yes, I think with Chomp, I think the argument was that player two like the argument is that if player hold on. Yeah, it's way too late at night for me, Neil. I can't think.
no, that's completely fine. I think with Chomp, the argument was completely transparent, so we don't have to worry about that at all.
Right, so if player one did something foolish.
So I think in Chomp, the crucial part of the argument was that player one can always take the top right corner. If they take a different, like if they have a different first move, the same argument goes through, because again, the second strategy may require them to do things that they can't do anymore. However, yeah, I mean, since you picked that extremal piece, the whole argument went through just fine. And yeah, I think I've also lost track of time. We're well past the hour, so I think we can easily pick this up tomorrow. I don't know if Vinay had any closing comments, but I'm happy to. Like, I think, yeah, I mean, I think I'm generally paranoid about strategy stealing, but in this case, it seems like it should work out just fine. And we can talk about like strategy stealing in the context of this puzzle when we meet next. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So don't know if this is a good place to wrap up.
Yeah. Though, right, I am still like maybe, yeah, maybe when I can actually think. I was going to ask Vinay to please repeat what he said so that we can go and think about it. But
Yeah, I think we can also go back in the recording, so
yeah.
we can do that. I mean, what I just what I just claimed the question was based on my recollection, which could of course be wrong. So we can just go back and take a look.
No, all I said was that in Chomp there was a very obvious mathematical structure, which was a poset or a lattice. And it was clear that the move was subsumed by the second player because the first player took that right top corner. And whatever player 2 does, it was including that first move of player 1.
Yeah.
So there it was obvious that it was being played on the poset.
Yeah.
So I did not obviously see a mathematical structure here.
No, right, neither do I. Yeah. So but it's not clearly a, just so yeah, so this the first mark matters now. And it could be some sort of mirroring thing, but I don't know what it would
Yeah,
be.
so there must be something to it. We have to go take a look at it. Yeah.
Okay. So, but so I'm just wondering, like, do we agree that this stealing proof goes through, or does it need more justification?
That
Oh,
you
it
must
needs.
tell
I
me.
think there needs to be some mathematical justification. Probably, I don't know the way it has been set up, but I mean, this
If you wanted,
mostly reminds me of the min cut. So if you're looking for a ST connectivity, if you're looking for a path in a graph, then the other player is trying to snip away things so that
I mean, I think I do agree
connection does.
about your earlier comment that it's important that we're playing on a symmetric board and by and so on, because I think
Yeah.
otherwise I'm not sure this works.
Sure.
Yeah, but on an n by n, I don't know. Yeah, so somehow maybe yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I think
Yeah. So we'll have to, a little bit
we'll
of
get
homework.
back to
I
that.
think we can think about it. Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah. Okay. So thanks everyone. I think that was a fun fun discussion to go over, and I think we meet tomorrow again, same time and same link.